What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Now that Riot has finally found a way to successfully buff tank junglers to the point of them starting to be the most popular junglers, these buffs have had some pretty huge effects on the rest of the meta. Let's get started. Now, with the prevalence of Cinderhulk and tank junglers becoming strong, we are starting to see a very heavy tank meta come to balance. The tank items in the game right now are ridiculously strong, and tanks have a lot more options now than they used to since they don't suffer as much in the early game compared to a few patches ago. And so now we are left with what is essentially a tank meta due to the buffs to tank junglers. And there's quite a few changes as a result. The first is that now hyper carries are once again really strong. Champions like Graves who are not hyper carries will suffer a lot since he has a hard time killing tanks, while hyper carry AD carries like Kog'Maw Vayne and especially Jinx are much stronger now since they can kill tanks quite effectively. Playing AD carries that have a difficult time killing tanks creates a lot of problems for your team comps, since AD carries are the champions that are the best at killing tanks essentially. So if your AD carry can't kill the enemy tanks, it's likely that the enemy tanks are going to be unkillable. And so those champions that have a hard time killing tanks become a lot weaker now since tanks are just so prevalent in the meta. And so in a tank meta, hyper carries become flavor of the month since they do a reasonable job of countering those tanks. And when hyper carries become flavor of the month, so do assassins and burst damage champions. These kind of champions with the assassination and one-shot potential do fantastic in a tank meta, despite often having an extremely difficult time versus tanks. And the reason for that is because they counter hyper carry so effectively. Despite the fact that burst damage champions and assassins essentially get countered by tanks since they have a really difficult time killing them, unless you get super fed of course, they succeed so well in a tank meta due to the fact that they counter hyper carries, despite the fact that they get countered by tanks. By assassinating the hyper carries of the opponents, you essentially make your tanks unkillable, since there will be no one left alive on the enemy team to kill your tanks, and that completely overrides the fact that those assassins get countered by tanks, and it's just so powerful. And so in turn, that makes high peel support champions become extremely powerful, as opposed to the initiation and pick supports that were recently more popular. Champions like Janna and Lulu, as well as other supportive peel type of champions, who effectively counter assassins, rise up in the meta since they can do such an effective job of protecting their hyper carry and can kite the tanks with ease. These champions help make your hyper carries kind of tanky in the sense, through kiting and defensive abilities. And so at the end of the day, we are really just left with a meta that actually just revolves around hyper carries completely due to the buffs to tank junglers. It's kind of crazy to see how some changes have such a large effect on everything that takes place in the meta. It's just so cool to see how truly dynamic the League of Legends meta is, and how so many shifts can take place off of a change that was originally only intended to affect a handful of champions. Anyways, that was just a thought I had. My name is Jeremy, and that's it for my video on the tank meta. Hey guys, it's me Jeremy. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, definitely make sure to hit that like button so I can tell, and if you're interested, definitely check me out on all the socials, of which you can see over there. And if you really enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe for some more awesome content in the future, as well as you can check out some of my other videos up here and over there. Anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.